A play fake. Young goes deep middle. He's got Jerry Rice. Touchdown 49ers!
Welcome to another edition of the 49ers Family Podcast, where three generations of 49ers fans break down the game each week and hear from Grandpa Mike as he shares personal experiences since he became a fan in 1949. My name is Josh, and I'm here with my dad, Jared, and my grandpa, Mike, and we are a 49ers family. All right. I don't think I've ever been so excited to do this podcast. Maybe the first one because it was exciting, but this one, I feel like everything just finally clicked. How are we feeling?
We're feeling good. Yeah, I am stoked. And we're actually doing this on Tuesday night. So the game was just last night. So it's, fresh in my mind. It was total dominance. And this was against a team that had beaten us 11 of the last 15 games.
Yep.
This wasn't the little sisters of the poor. But on Monday night, we sent a message to the league that we're now a complete team. The offense has joined the our top-rated defense.
Mm-hmm.
So, we started slow in the first quarter. First two series, we were running, and Arizona had a six-man front.
Yeah.
They were taking away the run, and their philosophy last night was Jimmy has to beat you.
Yep.
Well, he did. So the first quarter we didn't really do anything. And then to end the first half, we passed 14 out of 15 times, which is so unlike Shanahan. But, they were playing six guys up front. And so we scored 17 points in the second quarter. Yep. And then again, our defense in the second half, DeMarco Ryans at halftime, he does things that are unbelievable. I mean, this guy is just brilliant. So he started to double DeAndre Hopkins. Yep. And Hopkins caught 7 passes in the first half and 2 in the second half. So, took him out of the game. So we're now in first place in the NFC West, and if the playoffs started today, we'd be the number 3 seed. And let's see, and then our next three games are at home, and 5 of the final 7 are at home. So this is lining up beautifully.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a dominating performance, and I just loved it. So we have a great team that's going to go far.
We sure do. Dad, I know you didn't catch the first bit because you were at work. They start these games a little early for the West Coasters, but I know you caught a lot of the games still. What were your thoughts?
My thoughts is I was super excited, and it was what all 49er fans have been waiting for. All the pieces of the puzzle brought together. Shanahan had them all on the table, and he started using all of the pieces. The way we distributed the ball with a run and pass game, and then to all of our skilled players. Kittle got touches, Deebo did, Ayuk, Mitchell, and of course Christian McCaffrey, who's changed the game for the 49ers. We're just a better team with Christian McCaffrey. He just opens up and spreads out the defense on the other side of the ball. Lining him up in slot was really awesome. That's what I've been waiting for. I just think that is just a great position for him to either catch the ball or go in motion and even kind of spend time in the backfield carrying the ball. But he's just diverse. And since he's joined the team, we're a better passing team and a better rushing team, both. We've improved our effectiveness and efficiency in both. So I thought the game was awesome. We put a lot of points on the board. Grandpa talked about it. A lot of the 14 out of 15 plays in the to end the first half, I should say. We scored 17 points, went to the air, came back the first portion of the second half. The first 8 plays, we ran 7 out of the 8 plays, and Deebo scored on a rushing play, 39 yards on the reverse, and those were all runs. So the pass set up the run. It kind of poked holes in the and just opened up the defense on the side of the Cardinals. So anyhow, I just liked the balance, and then we got everybody involved, and it was too much to stop for the Cardinals. So yeah, it was an awesome experience, fun to watch.
Super fun. Last week we all predicted that the Niners would win. I predicted 30-20 Niners. Dad, you were 31-19. Grandpa was 30-17. And for, to the likes of all of us, they cruised to a 38-10 victory. And even I think that, and they talked about this in the post-game presser, they still feel like they left some meat on the bone. Those first 2 drives were disappointing, to say the least. But sometimes, especially when you have a good offense and a good defense, that first quarter is a little bit of a feeling each other out. They had a little bit of an upper hand on our defense in the first quarter, and on frankly our offense. But once we kind of settled in a little bit and we took what they were giving us, and adjusted like good teams do, man, we had all the momentum we needed going into half, 17-10, and then just opened it up in the second half. Super, super cool. And that second half for the now 3 games in a row has been the difference maker. This one, similar to those other ones, but you also got to think, and we'll never completely know, but Nick Bosa, probably the most prominent player that said this, was that they felt like the few days that they spent in Colorado Springs made a difference. That you could tell. This Cardinals defense looked gassed by the end of the game. They did. That Kittle pass, catch and run, he just ran down the sideline. There were like 4 guys there. I don't know how they didn't get him. It's like they just ran out of gas. I honestly don't know if I've ever seen anything like that. And he just waltzed down the sideline. It was like, what the heck? So props to Jed York and for footing that bill. I know he got a game ball because of it, that the team appreciated that kind of level of kind of preparation and kind of commitment to prepare. Whereas we hadn't really heard what Arizona was doing. They didn't travel anywhere. Apparently they were using those like high altitude masks to try and adjust kind of the oxygen levels that they're intaking. But I do think that that had some part to play, even if it is even a little psychological, that you don't think you're as tired or whatever, but they were all tired, and it's different playing at 7,000 feet. But we pulled it off.
Yeah.
There was also something special about last night, Grandpa. Something about most wins on Monday night or something.
Yeah. So Monday Night Football started in 1970, and you can only play on Monday night 3 times a year is the max. Usually you just play once or twice. But the 49ers now have the most victories on Monday Night Football, 52.
That's awesome.
Patrick Willis's number. So 52, we're 2-0 this year, and we were tied with Pittsburgh at 51. Pittsburgh does play next Monday night, Indianapolis, so hopefully they don't win. But anyway, I wanted to also just give some props to Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. And I always think back to when they took over this team in 2017. We were a dismal 2-14 and coached by Chip Kelly and going nowhere. And it's now they're now in their 6th year, and there's only 2 players that remain from that 2016 team, and that's Eric Armstead and Jimmy Ward. So they've totally turned over the team. 51 of the 53 are new, and they're stars. I mean, it's not just, different players, different names. They're exciting stars with high expectations. So we have Ayuk and Kittle and Deebo and Mitchell and McCaffrey and Garoppolo and Trent Williams and Nick Bosa. I mean, they have done a phenomenal job, including just the most recent trade 3 weeks ago. Christian McCaffrey has, Jared was touching on this, made such a difference. And here's just a couple of indications of that. So our 3rd down conversion prior to McCaffrey was 41%. Since he's been with us, it's now 55%. And one of my nicknames for him is a first down maker. He's a yardage guy. He gets 100 yards a game and receiving and running, but he makes first downs. He keeps drives going. He creates space for others. I mean, this guy is really a difference maker. So,
and I will just add to that. He's a mismatch waiting to happen. Like Dad said, when he lines up in the slot, there's no way that guy that's lined up on him can guard him. And
the linebackers often are responsible for him, and they can't handle him. And it just opens up the options just so big for the Niners and trouble for the defense.
Yeah, and he makes Jimmy look good.
Right.
He's the outlet for Jimmy. He's the outlet, and Jimmy doesn't have to panic. He knows he's got an outlet all the time with Christian McCaffrey, and it creates space. And Christian McCaffrey creates space for the rest of our offense. And we have playmakers, whether it's Kittle or Deebo, Ayuk, get the ball in their hands and create space. Well, when you got Christian McCaffrey out there, he requires a lot of eyes and a lot of attention, and it created space. And that's why we ran the way we did and had the opportunities we had. It's all about spacing on the field. And that's what this game we were able to do, and the play calls enhanced and made those opportunities happen because of the types of play calls and the run or the pass set up the run game. So I loved all that. And on one more thing on Christian McCaffrey, not only have we improved our 3rd down efficiency to 55% from 41, but since we got him, our points per game average is 28 points per game. Went from 20 to 28 points per game. We are number 2 in the DVOA on the passing efficiency as a team. We were number 9, and we went from number 26 on the run to number 6 run DVOA. So our whole offense since Christian McCaffrey has stepped up huge. And now we have a 2-edged sword. We have a defense and an offense. I mean, we play hard both ways, and that's what it takes to go deep into the playoffs and make a run for the Super Bowl. So I hope we can continue to see this kind of offensive play, because the sky's the limit.
Sure is.
And how about those fans in Mexico City?
Yeah.
That was, so Kittle, Nick Bosa, and Shanahan each said they've never played in a stadium so loud, and that includes Seattle.
Yep.
And so, there's different statistic that some people say it was 95% Niner fans, others 72, but wow, that was so much fun to watch all those people just in their 49er paraphernalia and screaming their lungs out.
Yeah, I know. I love to see that. That was so awesome. Kyle Shanahan said, "I love San Francisco, but I would play here any day." And it's true. I mean, of course, now that stadium is going to go under some renovations in preparation for the 2026 World Cup. So probably the NFL probably won't be back there for the next 4 or 5 years. But man, put us on that list again, because that was epic.
So I guess the stadium has, and I don't know what construction wise you call this, but that upper lip, and the sound goes up and it comes back down, and anyway, that was fun. That was very exciting to see. It was a road game that felt like a home game.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, besides having to fly down there and stay in a hotel and the logistics, the game atmosphere felt like a home field advantage.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the box score. We've mentioned a bunch of different things and reactions. I think we're all super stoked. Some things that just pop out to me, I want to get your guys' thoughts. And before kind of some overall general thoughts of, more general thoughts of the game. Rushing average, I think, was huge. That to me, in the beginning, yeah, they loaded the box. It wasn't going anywhere. The pass ended up setting up the run. Also, did you guys notice that Elijah Mitchell didn't touch the ball until like 5 minutes left in the second quarter? That was interesting.
It was, and that's Shanahan. He's got like a chess game, and he's got all these pieces to play with. So in the first half, I think McCafferty was in for 25 plays or 28, and Mitchell for 3.
Yeah.
And then the second half,
But well, yeah, Mitchell ended up having the most rushing attempts with 9. He went 9 for 59 yards with a 6.5 average. So it was like maybe he was playing a little chess of like, these guys are going to get tired and like see Christian McCaffrey, and then all of a sudden bring in Elijah Mitchell, and it seemed like he was getting 8-9 yards a carry. He had a couple short ones that lowered his average, but that was interesting.
Right. And Arizona couldn't run at all. I mean, they averaged 2.8 yards per rush.
Yep.
And they had 24 rushes.
Yep.
So yeah, it was a solid game.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey and really loves the way Shanahan is using the offense and him, and they because everybody's fresh. You know what I mean? He just definitely spreading around, but he's got these amazing weapons. I mean, we are full of weapons, and the way he's kind of rotating Elijah Mitchell and Christian McCaffrey out and mixing Deebo in, and all of that is given plenty of rest, and it's just a different look every time. And it is very tough defensively because you get used to a certain rhythm, a certain runner, and then all of a sudden there's a fresh guy in there, and Mitchell runs so dang hard, man. I mean, it was beautiful to watch. So yeah, that was very interesting though. Like you said, it was like a racehorse just resting in the stall for that first quarter and plus, and then all of a sudden we're going to unleash him, and he did the job, and it was fun.
He looks quicker this year. And maybe it's because he missed 8 games, but
yeah, no, I agree. I think he looks quicker. I think he hits the hole a little harder than he did last year. Even when he like hits the hole and he gets hit, that's the thing. He's falling forward like 3 yards every single time, which helps his average. Those are the kind of running backs that honestly you want, and Kyle Shanahan loves. Hits the hole hard, and that just keeps that momentum going forward. So you tend to average probably at least 4 or 5 yards a carry, which is the goal. Other key things, get your guys' reactions. Maybe we can do game balls right after this, because this is leading to me to the point of red zone. We went 2 for 2. 0 turnovers, and a QB rating of 131.9. I have my reason why all those things happened, and I think it's a guy named Jimmy Garoppolo. He played his tail off. That was he played so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy, we're so lucky to have him. We tried to trade him. We even gave he and his agent permission to go shop himself. We said goodbye in February, and my goodness, what kind of shape we'd be in without him. So he's gone now 3 straight games without an interception. That's the first time he's ever done that. And yeah, he has been phenomenal. He's earning his paycheck for next year, wherever he happens to end up. But what a blessing it is for him to still be a Niner. We'd be in trouble without that.
Yeah, he's golden boy Jimmy Garoppolo right now, and everything he's touching is turned into gold. He looked very confident. He's got a lot of weapons. He does love to throw the ball. Shanahan, I think, is starting to loosen up a little bit and realize we are a passing team that sets up a strong run game, and we are a passing team first. All statistics, every stat says our pass game is our most efficient game, and it sets up now a run game that's going to explode. So then we have this two-pronged attack offensively, and that's going to help us through the playoffs and everything. Jimmy throwing 4 TDs was just amazing. Protecting the ball like he does. His DVOA he's like number 3 in quarterback passing, right behind Tua and Mahomes. I mean, that's in the league, NFL wise, ahead of Josh Allen and everybody else. So Jimmy Garoppolo is doing his job. Shanahan's learning how to kind of balance the offense. And I think there's this meeting of the minds that's starting to really percolate. And the team themselves, the players themselves, this is a very, very united team, a very excited team. The players love each other. They have respect for Kyle, and they love Jimmy G. I mean, from the water boy to Nick Bosa, everybody has always had nothing but praise to say about Jimmy. They love hanging with Jimmy, and they love following Jimmy. They believe in him. Christian McCaffrey, big time. He said he's so underrated. I mean, this guy is really good. So, yeah, it's just all the pieces and the chemistry are there for just great things to happen. But I love the box score for Jimmy. That was very, very, very impressive game, and distributed the ball beautifully. We had 1 rushing TD and 3 passing TDs, and it was just a beautiful thing to watch. But Jimmy G, so glad we have him, and just got to have mad respect for him and how he handled himself. Like Grandpa said, through everything he's been through, he's been a first-class act, and want nothing but the best for him.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
So did you see
go ahead.
They went to the Warrior game the other night. Kittle and Garoppolo and McCaffrey and Houston, and they were, of course, sitting in the front row, and the cheerleaders came over to say hello to them, and they all went right to Jimmy and shook his hand and kind of avoided the other guys. It was funny. Kittle was going crazy. So yeah, you're right, Jared. They love each other. They hang out. It's a great thing.
That is huge. When you own, or not own, the locker room, but the locker room is united, undivided, indivisible. There is something special. Even the offense is cheering for the defense. The defense is cheering for the offense. I mean, everybody has everybody's back.
Right.
It's a unique chemistry right now. And anyhow, it's just really exciting to see.
It sure is. One more thing about Jimmy G. Yeah, as we mentioned, his interception rate is the lowest of his entire career at 1.5%. That ranks 7th in the NFL. And then as far as kind of our next games go, rest of the season, looking at the defenses that we're going up against, we have the second easiest strength of schedule from a opposing passing defense perspective. So I think, that is fantastic. And what that might do, once again, is if they try and overcompensate and drop people into coverage, then it's going to open up the run game. Like, it's a beautiful thing that we have going on. I mean, I was talking to a guy at work. He's a Chicago Bears fan, and he said he watched the game last night. It was super impressive, and he agreed. He said, if you guys stay healthy, I don't see how somebody beats you. And I agree. I mean, knock on wood a million times over. If Jimmy G goes down, we're up a creek. But what we have is super special if we can stay healthy. In which there were no injuries from the game yesterday, second week in a row.
Yeah, and that's we've got people coming back, and nobody's getting hurt. So things are good.
And another huge thing was we were +2 in the turnovers. I know we talked about it earlier, but the 49ers not turning over the ball and being positive in the turnover ratio, that's huge for us. I mean, that's why we put up 38 points on the board. We kept the ball in our hands. We moved the ball most games pretty efficiently, but when we turn over the ball, that takes away a whole drive, negates a whole drive, and takes points off the board. So just protecting the ball and staying positive in the turnover ratio was very, very big for us too. And back to the defense, D'Amico Ryans, our defense, the second half, this was I think you mentioned before, yes, the third, was it the third week in a row we had a shutout in the second half? Right. I mean, 0 points for the opposing team in the second half of the last 3 games against the Rams, the Chargers, and the Cardinals. And those are no slouches of offensive teams. So, I mean, that's our defensive adjustments. So, again, we're playing well on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. If you just look at the second half of the last 3 games, the score would be 54-0.
Right. Yeah.
We've scored 54 points in the second half of those 3 games and given up none. 54-0.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Well, I will collectively say that I think we're all saying that the game balls probably should go to Jimmy G and D'Amico Ryans in the defense overall, that they were the difference makers, made all the difference, made the 28-point difference in the game. But let's go ahead and move on to Saints week. That was a lot of fun. Now let's talk about Saints. As Grant already said, Niners are going back home, back to the Bay Area, and face the Saints, who are currently 4-7. The game kicks off at 1:25 p.m. Pacific. It was looking like it might rain. That rain has now shifted to Monday, so it looks like partly cloudy, beautiful weather, high of 65. It should be a beautiful day for football. The Niners lead the all-time series, 49 wins, 27 losses, and 2 ties, actually. And as it currently sits on here this Tuesday night, the Niners are favored by 9.5 points. It opened at 8.5. It has moved to 9.5. That is kind of makes me a little bit nervous. We can talk about this in a second. But shapes up to be another game, kind of similar, kind of shades of the Cardinals. Another game that we should win. We have the upper hand, and it's going to come down to which, does the team continue to show up like they have, and do we continue to carry that momentum forward? One would hope so.
A couple things. I'll jump in real quick. Things that may equalize the game a little bit. It's a short week for the Niners, and we're traveling quite distance. We got I don't know about the time zone so much, but we got travel time, and there's some other things that we got to show up, but it is a home game, and that should work to our benefit. And we are a nightmare if I was a coach and having to plan a defensive strategy to slow down the Niners, I'd need a two-headed monster, because I need to be looking both ways and 3 or 4 ways, because we just have the weapons out there. So we're going to pose some serious trouble to the New Orleans. But I love that it's at home. That'll work to our advantage. But we do have to get rested and get ready to play. Comes fast.
I always worry. My friend Wes, he talks about a letdown after a big game like this, that, we went to Colorado Springs for 3 days and then to Mexico City and all the hoopla and a great victory, and coming home and having a short week. I worry about a letdown, but I think we'll be fine. New Orleans is they've got a poor record of 4-7, but they're not a bad team. There was some people before the season that picked them to go to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
And I thought, gee, I didn't think that way, but so let's see here. Their offense is ranked number 10. So it's pretty good out of 32 teams. They're 10th, and their defense is ranked 12th. So they're good. They're 4-7, but and your old friend Josh, Taysom Hill, is their second leading rusher. He comes in and just, he'll run through a brick building.
He's talking about a horse. That guy is built like one. And he runs hard, and he runs over DBs.
Yeah.
It's something I do follow the Saints a little bit because of Taysom, to watch and kind of see some of the gadget plays that they put him in on. And he truly is go gadget. You don't know if he's going to throw, if he's going to run. The most of the time he's in the backfield, it is a designed kind of run, almost like a wildcat formation, which he has great success with. In fact, looking over the course of the season, the games in which I couldn't find the stat, the games in which he has more than like 7 touches, they are undefeated. And the games where they use him less, they lose. So I don't know if the Saints are going to catch on to that. But let's hope he doesn't impact this game, because it seemed like when he does, they get hot and have a good game. But yeah, Andy Dalton is their quarterback right now. Jameis Winston started the season, got hurt. And you guys correct me if I'm wrong. I think he's back and he's on the sideline, but they're sticking with Andy Dalton.
He's ticked. He's like, I lost my job because I got hurt. What's the deal here? He's up in arms right now.
They started out bad this year, though.
Yeah. So I
go ahead. Jameis Winston, 1 year at Tampa, before Brady, he threw 30 interceptions. That's like 2 a game.
Yeah.
So he's, Andy Dalton is 36 years old. And Taysom Hill, he averages almost 8 yards a carry, 7.6. Exactly. So he's a gadget guy, like you say, Josh, but he just seems to, they'll be 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1. He comes in and gets 8 yards.
Yeah, it's a high success rate when he touches the ball. They do, and I think it's some internal politics and keeping players happy. Part of the reason why I think they don't play him is because RB1, Alvin Kamara, is a little bit of a drama queen, and he wants the ball. It's kind of rumored that he doesn't like Taysom, and that they're never hanging. You can see they're never hanging out or talking on the sideline. And he thinks that Taysom is kind of gets in his way. So So they've been sticking to Alvin Kamara. He leads their team with 511 yards. Taysom isn't super far behind with 396. And then Mark Ingram is their RB3 with almost 200 yards. But the one I wanted to point out, that's the running backs on the receiving core. Man, they've got hit with a bunch of injuries. Michael Thomas with his dang toe is out for the season. Ridiculous, because he's a talent. But Chris Olave, who is a rookie out of Ohio State, is really showing out and is kind of their true wide receiver one, demands a lot of attention because the dude is good. He's going to be good for years to come.
Yeah, he's their go-to guy. He averages almost 15 yards of reception, and he's got 51 catches. And he's a rookie. He could be rookie of the year.
Yep, and then they love to send Alvin Kamara out of the backfield. He's known for his good hands, so he's kind of a Christian McCaffrey in that way, that he's always around the ball. We're gonna have to account for him, but honestly, it's Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara, and then they just have a bunch of other guys. And so you would imagine that Trivarius Ward is going to guard Chris Olave, and Alvin Kamara is going to be spied. I would imagine probably like a Fred Warner, that's also very good at guarding these running backs coming out of the backfield, something like we saw with Austin Eckler and the Chargers. So they're no slouch, but it's just a matter of they haven't shown week in and week out that they can put together a complete game. Their offense from a DVOA standpoint is ranked 23rd, not that efficient. So we'll see kind of how we handle them.
They have a minus 12 turnover ratio. It's up here on the stats. That's pretty poor. I mean, that's crazy if that's a true stat. So
that is a true stat, and that's why their record is 4-7.
Yeah, that'll change some. That'll crush you. So we got to take advantage of that for sure. And looks like they only have, what's their top guy is for sacks, 6.5, Demario Davis. So I don't know if they get to the quarterback very often. And that's another thing, is our line did very good offensively, defensively this last time when you had Givens playing out of his mind, and defensively for the Niners. And then offensively, our interior line was studly. I mean, really, Banks, Brent, Burford. So, I don't know.
No sacks. So Jimmy was not sacked. We had no injuries and no turnovers.
Yeah,
that sounds like a winning formula to me.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
So it's gonna be good.
I always like. I never gamble, as you guys know, but I do watch the point spread because Vegas knows what's going to happen. And like you said, Josh, they opened at 8.5, and because of our performance last night, a lot of money went on the Niners, and it's now 9.5. It'll probably go up to 10. But Vegas is usually right on. So it gives me a little measurement early in the week of what to expect.
Yeah. I mean, and then Daddy, you were talking about how the Niners, of course, have to travel back from Mexico City. Got back to San Francisco, Santa Clara, early Tuesday morning. Then Thanksgiving's on Thursday. But then talk about travel. The Saints are probably, these are still humans. They have their own Thanksgivings in New Orleans, and then they have to travel and get all the way to the West Coast from New Orleans. That's not that's probably a 4.5 hour flight. That's a hike. So
good point.
There's going to be a decent home field advantage. I think Niners fans are all kinds of hyped up from that last game. And so, usually you get like 3 points for that home field advantage. This week, I feel like the home field advantage is going to give us, maybe a point or two more than normal.
Mm-hmm. That's a good point, Josh. I like that. It's so true. They're both struggling with the holiday week, and they have their own issues of travel and just being prepared for the game. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Just because we were talking about that -12 turnover ratio, I looked up the Niners for this year because I wanted to know overall. We currently sit at a -1 turnover ratio, but
Exactly.
I think that number is trending in the right direction.
Yes.
Like the rest of our team. So hopefully by the end of the year we're whatever plus 10 or something. We'll see. And that's a little too optimistic, but you at least want to see it at net neutral, that you're taking away as much as you're giving away.
Yep.
So a little Sammy Womack had an interception at the end of the game to points. I just like him. And he's on the punt team, and he twice went down there, and once that they brought it out to the 20, but he downed the ball on the 4 another time. I mean, he's a good little player.
Yeah. Well, and I don't think we've talked about him all year, but huge props to Mitch Wisnowski. He got a contract extension right before, I think, the first game in the season, and man, he has looked better this year. Which is great news for the Niners, because sometimes you sign an extension, you see maybe a decrease in performance. He was okay, good enough to sign last, for this next season, but he is showing out, and his punts just look good. The way that they're landing, the way that they're traveling, the placements. Last night he put on a clinic. I would not be surprised to see him get some of those week awards of specialist of the week, because he looked great last time.
He averaged 54 yards a punt last
awesome.
night. Yeah. And
that's huge. Yeah. I mean, and that's what championship teams do, is they have all the pieces. You got to have a punter, you got to have a kicker who can kick it from 50 plus yards, and you got to have a defense and offense, but special teams. Yep. Very, very well said. Wisnowski, is that how you say his name?
Wisnowski.
Yeah. Anyhow, yeah, he was spot on, and he's feeling the energy too. That's what I feel. It's contagious when you start to just gel and the chemistry comes together. Everybody's game's elevated, and they're in the zone, and I think that's kind of part of it. He's part of that whole feeling that everything is coming together.
He was a 4th round draft pick, which is unusual for a punter. They usually think punters and kickers are a dime a dozen, because there's over 300 colleges and there's 300 kickers every year. But the Niners drafted him in the 4th round. He's from Australia, and he does put a little different spin on the ball, and he can really, really place it. He's a weapon.
The Aussie rules football in them, that's they run and kick the ball like that. That's how they kick it through the uprights in Aussie rules football like that. So that's pretty fun to see. And Nick Bosa, another sack. That's 10.5 sacks on the season. He's only played 9 games, and he's got 10.5 sacks. So he's doing his thing, and was beautiful, fun to watch. Yeah. And then I liked seeing, D'Amico Ryans pulled some nice stunts and blitzes, nice timing, and just they were well executed. Warner got a sack off of one of them, I think, and Hufanga got in there and disrupted
Colt
McCoy on another one. So that was fun to see too.
Colt McCoy was beat up.
Yeah, he was hurt. I could tell. And before they pulled him out, I'm like, he's in trouble. I mean, he was trying to keep it going, but he was in trouble. Yeah, and they finally yanked him.
Yeah, props to him though. I mean, he was making some throws first half. He liked going to the left to DeAndre Hopkins. Some of those were some dimes. So, but yeah, he got a little beat up. Niners were starting to catch up to him. And ultimately Trace McSorley played last pretty much almost the last quarter when the game was out of hand. It was funny, in college you see more blowouts, and so you really kind of throw the twos in there, or even sometimes the threes, to get them some experience. But with a roster of only 53 people, when you go out by 28 points, a lot of those starters are still in there, and you're just trying to not get hurt. Is really like the coaches just want that game to end as quickly as possible with no injuries.
That's a hard question to answer. If one of your stars got hurt and you're 28 points, they say, "Why did you keep him in?" And there's no answer for that.
Yeah, well, that was Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp against us got hurt.
At the end of the game.
1 minute of the game, and he's on the IR right now. I mean, talk about the Rams. Their season is in the trash. The Saints that we were just previewing just beat up on the Rams last week. I mean,
the Rams are in real trouble in a number of areas. One is salary. They traded, all their draft picks, and they got Ramsey and Stafford and these guys, and Stafford is due a lot of money. I forget exactly how much, but I mean, they're paying him like 19 million this year, and on the books he's due 62 million next year. Now they changed that, and that's the same. They're back-ending and backloading these contracts, and the Rams are in trouble.
Rams are in trouble. They we always talk about the Super Bowl window. They got their Super Bowl. The odds of them getting back to Super Bowl form in current state, it's
a long road. They got to go all the way back around. It's all the way back around the board again, because they've met it, they've exceeded it, they're bleeding money, and it's hard to build.
They have no offensive line, they have no running game. They've got internal problems too. They just cut their leading rusher, Henderson.
I know.
The other guy, Ayers, I don't know what was going on behind the scenes, but Ayers was in trouble with McVay. So anyway, it's nice to see that they're having issues, and they're going to be long-term issues. They've got a lot of holes and no money. And no draft picks.
For sure. And so I guess kind of wrapping this up, Niners are 4-0 in the NFC West. They are currently hold the 3 seed because of the tiebreaker over the Seahawks, because we beat the Seahawks. We both sit at 6-4. This week should be good against the 4-7 Saints at home. Hopefully we could stay healthy, clean game, and keep this party rolling, because the next week should be interesting podcast, because we're going to break down the Dolphins, which I did not think that the Dolphins would be, the top, few games of the season, but this is just shaping out to be quite the game. And, toward the end of the season, the broadcast rights have the ability to flex that Sunday night football option. I would not be surprised at all if Niners Dolphins at home gets flexed to Sunday night. That would be quite the show.
That's and we have Shanahan has his own coaching tree, so Mike has done a great job in Miami. I mean, he's really turned them around. And a lot of it is the 49er way. It's certainly our playbook, and they've got 2 of our runners.
I know, exactly. Yeah, that's right.
We're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but
we'll save that one for next week. But let's do all right. So score predictions for the Saints. Grandpa, you go first.
Okay, I have 35-20.
Whoa.
So we're going to do into the 30s again.
I love it.
And that's so last week we had the ball. last night actually had the ball 11 times, and if we scored a touchdown every time, what would that be? 77. So we're going to score half what I'm saying is we're going to score half the time. And so anyway, yeah, 35-20 Niners.
I think the Niners are going to win 28-17. I really think our defense is going to be stout again, and we're going to hold our opponents throughout the season. It'll be a record-breaking year, under 20 points per game. That'll be a nice stat. So I always think we're going to hold them to 19 to 17 points, and I'm going to say 28-17 Niners.
Awesome. I will go. I said last week, and our average points per game is now sitting at, since Christian McCaffrey, is 28.5. My goal for the Niners, once again, to kind of prepare for the playoffs, prepare for the Dolphins, and hopefully one day the Super Bowl, is to average that 30 points. So I'm going to say we get 31, and Saints get, let's say, 20. 31-20.
I like it. I like all of that. I love it over 30, and I like holding people up, the other opponent, to 20 and under. So that's beautiful. And I think we're going to be in there. That's going to be fun. I wish it was tomorrow. Again, it's too long. Sunday's too far away.
Well, it is super fun. All right. Well, that was awesome. That was a super fun one. That will probably do it for another episode of 49ers Family. Once again, we always appreciate you guys tuning in, being part of our 49ers family. If you have any feedback, comments, questions, like our good friend Wes will get to your question next week about the special teams. I think that will definitely become a key part of those close games, like maybe the Dolphins will be predicted to be. But we appreciate you guys listening in. And yeah, we'll see how this week goes. Until next time.
So happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
And happy Thanksgiving. Yes, of course.
Yeah.
All right. Go Niners.
Go Niners.
Go Niners.